Hello, YouTube. Hey guys, it's Sean here with Stealing Second, coming to you today with a little different video. I know I've been saying that a lot. I haven't been making a lot of videos lately. There's just been some changes in my personal life that have restricted me on some of the content that I want to make, and focus has been elsewhere. So I say that I haven't been showing a lot of pickup videos and things like that, just for the simple fact I haven't been picking up a lot of stuff lately. Due to the virus that's out there right now and the pandemic, I lost my job within my company back in early May. So just my focus has been on finding more work, and also just making do with what I got, and doing some trading with some people online, things like that. And then just been doing some trades with some people and stuff, and I keep looking down. I'm playing with cards, guys, like always. So I've been doing some trades with people through some of my Facebook groups that I'm in, and that's been going pretty well. I was able to do a trade for some Horner rookie cards that I had, doubles, for some graded Anthony Rizzo cards. So in a later video, I'll show you those cards. Right now, I don't have them on hand, but we'll show you those when I do. In the meantime, I just wanted to make this video and just kind of go through some of the hobby stuff, why I show you some of the cards I plan on grading next. So a while back, I made a video about a week ago I was going to post of kind of the current state of being a collector, and it was some of my frustrations and things like that. Well, I decided not to post that video after taking console from JT at Triple Crown 24, because it turned into quite the rant, and I really didn't think you guys would want to just basically hear me complain for 15 minutes of the issues I have with trying to collect and things like that right now. So, anyways, just kind of touch on a few of those things, and as I do it, I'll hold some cards up like this and closer to the camera, just to show you guys the stuff that's going in with my next PSA order as I kind of talk. So as I was kind of gonna do this rant and talk about basically what's going on with the hobby as a collector, some of the stuff that I see, the complaints that I run into, and that I'm having myself, is getting product. Everybody knows right now it's next to impossible to get product. Um, it kind of stinks. I want to rip some Topps Chrome, but you're talking $250 to $350 for hobby and jumbo boxes. You can't find retail anywhere. When you do, everybody's reselling it online for really high prices. $20 blaster boxes now 50, $70, depending on where you're looking at. So it's as a collector that's not so much looking to make a ton of money on anything. It's getting pretty frustrating on trying to open packs and get new product and add to my PC. I'm doing more eBay sales or purchases than anything, which is, it's just not as fun. It kind of kills the excitement for the hobby. Kind of takes away the joy from me a little bit of being able to rip packs and pull cool stuff and pick up some hobby boxes and go on a hunt for some really cool cards, but you just can't right now. I know a lot of people can, but especially me in the situation I'm in financially, yeah, I definitely can't do that. Spend that kind of money. So then it made me kind of touch on the second thing, was my complaint towards investing and collecting. Now, I use the word investing all the time because I do think, there is an investment side to cards. Anytime you're spending money on anything for collecting, it's an investment. Whether it's a good investment, poor investment, time will tell that. But it is an investment, so I understand the investing side of it. What I don't understand is that's the new selling strategy. It's not about collecting anymore. It's about investing. It's about, how do I spend money to make money? Which, hey, I respect everybody's hustle. You got to do it. But it really makes me wonder how much of this hobby right now is a bubble of people that are just in it because they can make money, and how much of this drop out once it gets tough or people start bailing. Um, right now, prices are getting so through the roof that how long is it going to be before people start jumping ship, and then us collectors are just stuck with a ton of overpriced cards, that it's kind of crazy, I mean, every product you rip now, it's a $300 investment to open the product, and then the brand new products, guys that are untested coming out, they're $1,000 a card to buy their card, or $200 or $500. The days of $20 and $30 cards, like really cool cards, are kind of gone. Base cards are $30 to $100 right out of the pack. Um, and if you're trying to get a couple of these for your PC stuff you want to collect, the only way to do it is to buy the singles if you can't afford to rip stuff. And then when you do that, are we going to be stuck with a bunch of overpriced cardboard? So it really worries me, and I'm kind of curious to see what you guys say down below of, is there as many collectors in the hobby as there is investors? I kind of don't feel that way. I feel like it's an 80-20 rule. I feel like 80% of the people that are in the hobby right now are making money or trying to make money, and it's easy money for them if they have the cash to invest up front. And then there was something on that card. And then you have the 20%, which are the collectors, who are actually the ones that are going to keep the hobby alive long term. And I just don't know that the collectors are really going to be the ones that carry this hobby into the next generation. But that leads me to my third thing I kind of wanted to chat about and bring up, was the younger generation in collecting. It's a big deal to get kids involved in, because they will carry the collection and they'll keep value in what we collect, and the value will also keep it in production and make it stay a thing. We've heard for years that baseball has had trouble with keeping young fans entertained, or in bringing in new young fans, and they've done some things to try that, mostly from the players. The commissioner doesn't seem to really have a handle on what draws in younger people, but the players have really been doing it, which is great, and we're seeing a little bit of growth there, but not a ton. And then you have younger kids that want to get into collecting. I don't know how in the heck you would. When I started out collecting, you could go to your gas station, you could go to your grocery store, CVS, wherever. There was packs of cards you could get cheap, $1.50. Those days are long gone, but what I'm saying is it was relatively affordable for a kid to take a couple bucks and buy a pack of cards or so. Now you really can't do that. Like, for a kid to get in and want to buy packs, A, there's nothing on the shelves ever anywhere. B, people buy retail at $10 a hanger box, and they put it online for $45. So now for a kid that has no cash period, has to go hit up his mom or dad for $40-$50 every time he wants to buy something to open, and he has to explain to his parents, who may not know anything about cards, that, hey, I'm going to buy a box that I have no clue what's inside of it, and I need $50 to do it. And they're going to be like, no, it ain't happening. So younger generation isn't going to have the intrigue or the nostalgia to want to keep going with the hobby and keep it alive. So it really bothers me and worries me for the future of the hobby. Granted, I'm 37 years old, pushing 40, and in 20 years, I'm going to be pushing 60 years old, and will all my cardboard be worthless because the next generation behind me really doesn't care? There might be a handful of collectors here and there, but the investor people bail, the hobby drops. All that worries me. So I do worry about that. On the other side of it, I worry again about the investing side of it. Everyone's talking about investing and how, what to invest in, or every listing you see is invest, invest, invest. People were talking, get it now, why it's cheap, the investment. Last time I heard this as a collector was in the early 90s. Um, Granted, overproduction was a big issue there. We don't really have that issue that I know of. Um, but the investment thing scares me. When you take a hobby and turn it into an investment, does it last long term? Or is this just a crazy giant bubble we're in right now? Every month for the past year, everyone's been saying, I can't believe the prices are this high. They're crazy. The prices are crazy. They're going to be eventually going to come back down and settle in, but they haven't. I mean, a few random prices on random players have, but like I said, you can rip a pack of Topps Chrome 2020. You pull a Louis Robert, Louis Bobby, whatever, however you want to say his name. You pull one out, colored, numbered to 199. People were like, "Oh, $600," or I don't know if that's true, but you get what I'm saying. Prices are crazy and insanely high right now. I just don't know how that this hobby can survive like that. And then you got the younger kids that I speak to, and that I know that collect, and they have absolutely no desire or no attachment to vintage baseball cards. So many of them don't have any desire to want to buy, look at, or even talk about vintage baseball cards. They don't know those players. No one around them talks about those players. They don't hear the stories like a lot of us did from our dads on those players. So there's just no connection at all. Now, granted, as they get older and some of them will research deeper into baseball and things, they'll pick up a little bit more information. They'll get more familiar with these guys, and some of them will pursue that. I'm not real worried about the vintage chase. I do think vintage will be, well, it'll kind of be like how a lot of us look at like T205s and T206s. Now, they're still very popular. A lot of people go after them, but most people, when they think of vintage, they think of 1948 to modern, or 1948 to the 80s. That's what most people would think of vintage. Now, granted, the older guys in the collection, that's going to get them fired up. 1979 and older is vintage, which is silly to me too, because 1989 is 30 years ago. So I consider the 80s vintage. So, but anyways, I digress. I'm not real worried about the vintage. I think there'll be some lost interest there, but it'll survive a little bit. I don't know that it'll necessarily, like the 52 Mantle, I don't know that that card's going to continue to be as strong in the future with the younger generation as it is with our generation. I could be wrong, but that's why I'm making this video. I want to see what you guys think, and let me know in the comments if you want to argue with me. I'm okay with that too. But it's just the thing that I'm really kind of worried right now. I'm scared to buy stuff because I don't want to overpay and have the thing be worthless, and have $100 invested into something that's worthless. And I know we all talk about, if you really want it, it doesn't matter. Well, that has some truth to it. So, I tried to soften up my rant here a little bit. I'm just curious to see if everybody else is feeling it, or if I'm just in the funk right now and I'm just being negative and seeing it as negative. Either way, let me know in the comments. I'd be real curious to see what you guys got to say. The cards I did show on camera there are my next PSA order that I'm going to submit. It was extremely all Cubs. I'm really trying to reconstruct my PC to primarily being just Cubs. Everything else I've kind of been dumping over the last few months because I've needed the money for other stuff. So therefore, I'm just grading the Cub stuff I have for my PC and making trades for stuff to get more Cub stuff for my PC. And that's kind of where I'm at. But sorry if this came off pretty negative and down. I wasn't trying to go that route. Like I said, I didn't post my last video because it turned into too much of a rant. But hopefully this one was a little less. But anyways, I look forward to seeing what you guys got to say. Hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll talk to you later.